I don't understand why it's so difficult for the press to have a consistent narrative about how dangerous Trump is. We can't go back and give this very dangerous man another chance to do harm to our country and the world. They were merciless about what they saw as President Biden's, problems in the debate and calling for him to withdraw.
Okay, here to react, Fox News contributor Joe Concha. Joe, good morning to you. So it sounds like Hillary Clinton does not agree with Republicans when they say that that kind of rhetoric is what is leading to these assassination attempts.
And Carly, it's just so sad. It's so pathetic to see Hillary Clinton continue her very public psychiatric therapy tour nearly, what are we at now? 8 years after she was defeated in an election that basically every pundit says was impossible to lose. She's still not over it. And there she is on national television last night with Rachel Maddow, who gets paid $30 million to work one night a week. Boy, can we get that contract? Saying the press needs to create a consistent narrative about how dangerous Trump is. I mean, that's an actual quote. Another one. He is a danger to our country and the world. 24 hours after Donald Trump is nearly assassinated again. And this is what NBC, MSNBC allows on their airwaves. And as you noted before the break, pushing this rhetoric will only drive somebody to try again until that person is successful. It's quite pathetic. It's the only word I could come to mind here, Todd.
Y'all, Hillary Clinton is still butthurt. All right. Welcome to Just Seevest. I am your host, Candace Jackson, and I want to get into Hillary Clinton. She's been making headlines this week, promoting her new memoir book, how she's advising Kamala Harris on her campaign. So we want to get into some things about who is Hillary Clinton and what she is all about. But before we get into that story, I just want to let you all know that I am new to YouTube. So if you can please like, share, and subscribe. I think that is very important to have more Black women conservatives out there that has a voice for the community and to show the unity that does exist in the MAGA movement, the Make America Great Again movement, and also within the Republican Conservative Party. So bear with me as I'm trying to get everything set up. I'm trying to get used to things here. And I just hope that you all give me a chance and please keep coming back for more. What we're doing over here, we want to debunk the lies and we want to uplift the truth. So that's our core value. And that is our mission statement on this channel. So in light of the second assassination attempt on President Trump just this past Sunday, I wanted to bring an article here from CNN about the man that they had detained, Ryan Wesley Roth, that's his name. Media is trying to spin the story and they're pretty much doing a victim blaming Olympics in order to distance themselves from the rhetoric that they have done over the past decade almost. So in this article here, it speaks about the tweets that the guy did back in April here. Of course, they want to highlight in the media that, oh, well, he voted for Donald Trump in 2016 or so. Okay, we're going to talk about 2016 as well. We're going to get into all of that, how Trump became the villain in the media in America, prior to that, everybody loved him. But here in April, he had tweeted and he was aiming this toward the Biden campaign and saying that they should rename their campaign and saying that they should keep America democratic and free. Kadoff. That's what he was saying here. And then also he said that Trump should name his campaign Massa, making slaves again. So he goes on to say democracy is on the ballot and we cannot lose. Now, where have you been hearing that from? I mean, it's been all around left-wing media about how Trump is a threat to democracy, how he will be a dictator on day one, how it will be a bloodbath if he doesn't win. He's also would be Hitler, many suggestions of him being Hitler. So they've been putting out this extremism in the news and in the media almost for 8 years now. And he's racist, he's white supremacy. It really all started with that statement, with the white supremacy back in 2016. And we're going to get into all how this came about and where we are now today when it comes to the media and to the news. So how did we get here? And how does Hillary Clinton play a vital role in Trump being villainized in the news, in the media, in amongst the American? Well, it all started in 1995, I believe, when Bill Clinton had an affair with Monica Lewinsky. This affair lasted for about 18 months until he got caught. From there, people had garnered more sympathy towards Hillary Clinton for standing by her husband, and she became a darling of the Democrat Party because of the allegations against her husband, and she stood by his side, and that became an epitome, that she wanted to keep her family intact. So she became the darling of the Democrat Party because of them sympathizing with Hillary Clinton. So we're going to fast track to 2008 when Hillary Clinton was the first woman to put a bid on the presidential nominee for the Democratic Party. Her opponent at that time was Barack Obama. So in light of Barack Obama being her opponent for the Democratic Party nomination, I don't think people remember how 2008 and the feud between Barack and Hillary Clinton was very contentious. It was vicious. And it was just downright dirty. Hillary Clinton doesn't like to lose. She doesn't like to have no as an answer. She is very hardcore, even though she may come off as being a sweetheart to America, but underneath all of that, she's a vicious person. And one thing that she doesn't like is to lose. So one of the biggest highlights in 2008 was the 2008 presidential nomination debate between Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. This is where Hillary Clinton was trying to accuse Barack Obama of being Republican favored, and he was pushing back on it, but she wanted to argue the man down on stage. So take a look at this.
When it comes to a lot of the issues that are important in this race, it is sometimes difficult to understand what Senator Obama has said, because as soon as he is confronted on it, he says that's not what he meant. The facts are that he has said in last week that he really liked the ideas of the Republicans over the last 10 to 15 years. And we can give you the exact quote. Now, I personally think they had ideas, but they were bad ideas. They were bad ideas for America. They were ideas like privatizing Social Security, like moving back from a balanced budget and a surplus to deficit and debt. And with respect to putting forth how one would pay for all of the programs that we're proposing in this campaign, I will be more than happy, Barack, to get the information, because we have searched for it. You have a lot of money that you want to put into foreign aid, a very worthy program. There is no evidence from your website, from your speeches, as to how you would pay for it.
Go ahead and respond, and then I want to get back to this issue that we're talking about, fiscal responsibility. But go ahead.
Let's talk about it. Hillary, I will be happy to provide you with the information about all the spending that we do. Now, let's talk about Ronald Reagan. What you just repeated here today is patent. Wait, no, Hillary, you just spoke.
I did not say anything about Ronald Reagan. You said two things. You talked about admiring Ronald Reagan, and you talked about the ideas of the Republicans. I didn't talk about Ronald Reagan.
We just had the tape. You just said that I complimented the Republican ideas. That is not true. What I said, and I will provide you with the quote. What I said is that Ronald Reagan was a transformative political figure because he was able to get Democrats to vote against their economic interests, to form a majority, to push through their agenda, an agenda that I objected to, because while I was working on those streets, watching those folks see their jobs shipped overseas, you were a corporate lawyer sitting on the board of Walmart. I was fighting these fights. So, but I want to be clear. So
as you saw, that the debate was very tense. It was heated during that time with the exchange between Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. And at this point, I believe that's when Obama was pretty much winning over her, and she doesn't like to lose. And after that, we start seeing a lot of smear campaigns against her opponent, Barack Obama. I'm not a big fan of Barack Obama, but the smear campaigns that Hillary Clinton did against him was absurd. One of the smear campaigns that she put out against him, that she was accusing him of political plagiarism. Also, she did smear him by putting out a photograph of him dressed up in Muslim gear. I think this was his Kenyan father when he visited his father in Kenya. Even though she didn't directly say that he wasn't a citizen of America, she did put the idea out there, which many people start questioning if Barack Obama was actually a citizen or not of America. She did this very spiteful because during this time in 2008, 9/11 just happened in 2001. And we was also in war during this time as well. So people were still very sensitive to the Muslim ideology. This is where the idea came from for Donald Trump to press the issue with Obama producing a birth certificate in order to prove his citizenship. The idea started with her. She may not directly said it, but it definitely started with Hillary Clinton in her campaign.
Imagine a person in the Oval Office who traffics in conspiracy theories.
Hillary Clinton and the birth of birtherism. I'm Brian Lilly with the Rebel.media. Hillary Clinton wants us to imagine what it's like to have someone in the White House that, well, believes in conspiracy theories or traffics in them. She must be able to imagine that better than most, given the fingerprints of her campaign are all over birtherism going back to 2008. And this was raised again after she attacked Donald Trump when he said, no, President Obama was born in America. She turned around and blasted him for ever trafficking in this. And yet we know from the historic record that it was Clinton, her campaign, her surrogates, that were originally pushing this issue back in 2008 when she was still battling Barack Obama to become the Democratic presidential nominee. She fired an Iowa campaign worker who was spreading the idea that not only was Obama a Muslim, but also born in Kenya, only after the media found out. The Obama campaign had been complaining about these emails circulating, but when the media reported on it, then the worker was fired. This issue has also been reported on by other media outlets for a long time now, and that resurfaced again when James Asher, who used to be a bureau chief at McClatchy in Washington, tweeted this out. Check it out. This is just from the other day. Asher says, CNN says Hillary team in 2008 never raised birther issue. Sid Blumenthal, longtime HRC buddy, told me in person, Obama born in Kenya. You can see in the McClatchy article as well, it goes over the campaign worker issue and what Blumenthal told Asher. Asher describing in detail how he was then in charge of the Africa desk for McClatchy and dropped by to talk to him and say, you've got to investigate this area in Kenya where Obama was born. Blumenthal now denies it, but when it comes to this, I'm going to believe the reporter over Blumenthal, whose sticky fingers have been on all over all kinds of crises and scandals related to both Bill and Hillary Clinton for years now. The other claim that Hillary Clinton made is that, well, Trump was attacking Obama because he's not like him.
Imagine a president who sees someone who doesn't look like him and doesn't agree with him and thinks, that person must not be a real American.
Well, let's go back to 2008 again, and we'll turn to left-wing media outlets like The Guardian and Politico, who were reporting on the time about the Clinton campaign pushing this photo. It's a photo of Barack Obama being dressed up in traditional African dress in the area that he was visiting near Kenya. They were pushing this with two reasons. One, again, to push the idea that he was from Kenya, not really American. And then secondly, to push the idea that he was a Muslim. They wanted the idea that Obama was foreign somehow. This had long been part of their strategy. In fact, it was detailed in a 2007 memo. Pushed the fact that Hillary Clinton was a true American, whereas Barack Obama, not quite American enough to be president. The Atlantic published this full memo years ago. It's been out there. Everybody knows about it, but nobody wants to talk about it. Well, let me quote to you directly from the Penn memo. It says, It also exposes a very strong weakness for him. His roots to basic American values and culture are at best limited. I cannot imagine America electing a president during a time of war who is not at his center fundamentally American in his thinking and values. He told the people of New Hampshire yesterday he has a Kansas accent because his mother was from there. His mother lived in many states, and as far as we can tell, but this is an example of the nonsense he uses to cover this up. Memo goes on to say, every speech should contain the line, "You were born in the middle of America to the middle class in the middle of the last century."
Okay, so you saw that guy said that it started by Hillary Clinton, and it was used, and she brought it up again during her 2016 run with President Trump as a way to indicate with him that he was racist and he didn't like to see Black people in power. That's what she was indicating. Even though during that time, she herself was, I feel like she was the one that was intimidated with Barack Obama's success during that time, and she didn't want to see him in power. And I say that within reason. We're going to get to it. Let's fast forward to 2016 and the villainization of Donald Trump. You know, before then, everybody just loved Donald Trump. His personality was the same as it was back then as it is today. Donald Trump has always had a big ego, and he was also very arrogant, and people loved him for it. They idolized of him, and they also admired him. So even though he did have a big ego and arrogant, Donald Trump is also very humble as well. He had very humble beginnings with his father that was here in real estate, bring up his, his family and his background and everything here. And mind you that Donald Trump's family also, I found this out while I was researching, never owned slaves here in America as well. But as you can see pictured here, you have Oprah in the top left corner there. You have Jesse Jackson, in which Donald Trump was a big donor of Jesse Jackson. He also lent his buildings so that he can host his campaigns in his buildings for free. That video is out there. You can go seek it out for yourself. Of course, Muhammad Ali. You have the two boxers in the corner. I don't quite know their names, but I saw them there. I know that they're boxers. Mike Tyson, which still supports Donald Trump. Al Sharpton down underneath Oprah, which, Al Sharpton does nothing but spew so many lies on MSNBC, even though I found out in my research as well, Donald Trump was also a big donor of Al Sharpton's youth organizations in the 80s. So when he says he's done a lot for the Black community, he has, and I'm sure that's not it. You have Michael Jackson there that's pictured with them. Little John, which was on the Celebrity Apprentice show. That's where this photo comes from, with Trump during that time, even though he performed at the DNC there. Snoop Dogg is there in the left hand, in the right bottom corner here, which he did a video violence against Trump. In the video here, he is pictured with Trump. Of course, here he says that he has nothing but love for him. I think he's changed his tune. I'm not sure. He flip-flops so much, so who knows? But there he is pictured there. And right smack dab in the middle, published in 2015, right before Donald Trump announced that he was going to run for election, you have Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton all cheesing in Donald Trump's face. What do you think about that? So as you can see there, everybody loved him until he ran for president. Take a look at this.
Donald Trump's lead in the Republican race is now more commanding than ever. Trump is now favored by 21.8% of Republican voters. Jeb Bush is way behind at 13.2%. Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker is third with 11.6%. All the Republican presidential candidates trooped on stage or made video appearances Monday night in New Hampshire. Trump was noticeably absent. He said it wasn't worth his time. Expect everything to change when Trump takes center stage at Thursday's Fox News debate in Cleveland. Meanwhile, check out this long-lost video of Trump that's now tearing up the internet. The year 1988. Oprah asks if he might run for president someday.
I would never want to rule it out totally because I really am tired of seeing what's happening with this country.
Sound familiar?
We have to make America great again. Thank you. Thank you.
You've said, though, that if you did run for president, you believe you'd win.
Well, I don't know. I think I'd win. I tell you what, I wouldn't go in to lose. I've never gone into losing in my life. And if I did decide to do it, I think I'd be inclined. I would say that I would have a hell of a chance of winning because I think people, I don't know how your audience feels, but I think people are tired of seeing the United States ripped off. And I can't promise you everything, but I can tell you one thing. This country would make one hell of a lot of money from those people that for 25 years have taken advantage. It wouldn't be the way it's been, believe me.
So even then, you can see that Trump didn't even show up to the Republican nominee debate because he has a big ego. They knew this for years. They come off as an alpha personality or so, very strong. When did the tide change with Hillary? So in 2016, I found this interview that was done on the ABC News network here in discussing his presidential candidacy. I believe this is with George Stephanopoulos at the time. I never can say his name. You know the guy who I'm talking about. I believe what happened was that he discussed Hillary Clinton in those infamous emails. Take a look at this.
Than he does, okay? How about Hillary Clinton? What Hillary's got with the emails is, to me, scandalous. She gets of course, you shouldn't be talking to me about that, in all fairness. You shouldn't be asking me those questions, but I don't mind. What Hillary's done with the emails is incredible. She gets a subpoena, and then after getting the subpoena, she cancels it. She canceled everything. What she did is illegal. What she did is totally illegal. I don't know how she gets away with it. And we will make America great again. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So in my opinion, this is where I believe the tide started changing with Hillary Clinton, and then she had to enact her cold, calculated, devious tactics against her opponent. And this is where we start hearing about Hillary Clinton and white supremacy. So the racism approach strategy done in the Democrat Party has been a long time strategy, and I believe it started under Barack Obama during his tenure as president. Because everything that if he was questioned on or he didn't do or exposed about something, they always said that it was racist. So this emboldened this racism approach strategy that the Democrat Party uses in order to not stand on their policies that they have enacted or the harmful policies that are in destruction that they have done to the country. Remember, they have been in power 12 of the last 16 years. So back to President Trump and Hillary Clinton, I believe at the time when he was running, everybody was taking him as a joke. So they took Trump as a joke because he was a reality TV star with the Celebrity Apprentice. I think he has been running since 2004 at this time. And so they just took him as a joke. They didn't take him serious. Many other times in his interviews, the interviewer was asking the question like, okay, is he an actor? I think he thinks he's an actor. Well, he was really serious, and I don't think that they took him serious. So as he was gaining steam and gaining a movement, and people were actually supporting President Trump, because you have to remember that he's not a politician. He's not a career-long politician that's been in office. He's a businessman, and he's always been a businessman. So after he was, gaining this steam, she did the smear campaign against him with white supremacy. Take a look at it.
This has never happened to a nominee of a major party. Just a few days ago, Donald Trump was endorsed by the official newspaper of the Ku Klux Klan. They wrote their endorsement under the slogan of his campaign, "Make America Great Again." They said it's about preserving white identity, and they've placed their faith and hope in him. You've got to ask yourself, do any of us who believe in our Constitution, who believe in the rule of law,
who believe that we are stronger together, who believe that we want to keep moving positively toward the vision of freedom and equality set forth by our founders. Do any of us have a place in Trump?
Does she sound familiar? You know, she is advising Harris on her campaign. And to me, I find that it sounds eerily familiar, the same things that Kamala Harris says as well. So, of course, after she put out those allegations about President Trump, it just took the media by storm. So at this point now, she is making media rounds. This was back in 2016 when she put this information out about Trump being endorsed by a newspaper, by the KKK, white supremacy, and also David Duke or so. I don't know if it's legitimate or not, but they ran with it. But I wonder, did they ever question Hillary Clinton about her endorsement by a KKK member? Take a look at this. Now, before I play this, I want to preface it as the preface has here. It could be very offensive and everything. So just bear with me because I do have a point and I'll try to get through it very quickly. Okay.
The KKK endorses Hillary Clinton. We have given her $20,000 anonymously for her campaign fund.
And I did look up this guy to see if he was a real person, if this, you know, because I didn't really believe that the KKK was still around like this, but apparently it is, and it's real, and he's in California.
He is friends with the Klan. You know, a lot of people don't realize that. What all this stuff.
So he's saying that she's friends with the Klan. Pay attention.
She's saying now, she's saying so she can get into office. Okay? She doesn't care about the illegal immigrants. She doesn't. She's acting like she does so she can get into office. And once she's into the office, then she'll implement her policies. She's Democrat. The Klan has always been a Democratic organization.
And that is very true. The Democratic Party was, the KKK was started by the Democratic Party, and also they're the party of Jim Crow as well. The Democratic Party has always been had an underlying racial, especially during the time in the early 1920s and the 1800s, late 1800s or so. They've always been a party of slavery and supported a party of slavery in the KKK, in Jim Crow.
I could care less about Donald Trump.
So they asked, was this an elaborate plot by Donald Trump himself for Hillary Clinton? But why isn't the question asked the other way around? Because in my research, I didn't find any evidence of Donald Trump being connected with the KKK or the white supremacists. But I just find it funny every single time when there is some sort of exposure to this party that they gaslight. They're professional gaslighters. And now they're turning the question to say, oh, Donald Trump must set him up. Well, we can turn around and say, well, maybe you set up Donald Trump with white supremacy. And in my opinion, I believe she did. I definitely believe that. And a lot of other people out there do believe that she, well, in fact, we know she did.
He's a millionaire. He's a businessman. He's not a politician. He couldn't run this country more than he can run a county. For the KKK, Hillary Clinton is our choice.
So as you can see there, Hillary Clinton campaign rejects the KKK endorsement and denies receiving the donations. I guess we actually didn't see a video or her being questioned about this at all, where like Trump was questioned about it, even though there's no evidence. I mean, he can't help who's going to vote for him. I mean, you know, a lot of people voted for Trump in 2016. It doesn't mean that because these type of people voted for him means that, oh, he must be KKK. Well, they voted for you, you know, so they voted in every election. That's crazy. So I did do some digging in her past, and I did find that she's connected to Robert C. Byrd. She said that this was her mentor, and she was she was very close. So as many of you know that Robert Byrd was a member of the KKK. He was a Grand Master in the Klansmanship. So you see her kissing him, or look like, you know, I don't know what's going on here. And then, you know, he is all in his get-up suit here for the KKK. Still, nobody questions her. And if you don't even believe that, if you think that, oh, well, no, maybe that's Photoshop, that's a myth and stuff like that, go look up Robert C. Byrd and see who he actually is. But there's also a video with her stating that this was her mentor and a friend. Take a look.
Today, our country has lost a true American original, my friend and mentor, Robert C. Byrd. Senator Byrd was a man of surpassing eloquence and nobility. And I will remember him for many things, but most of all, for a heartfelt comment he made to me in the dark days following the attack on our country on 9/11. My state of New York was reeling, and we were scrambling to provide support and relief. Think of me as the third senator from New York, he said, and he meant it. Thanks to the leadership of Senator Byrd, who chaired the Appropriations Committee, New Yorkers and Americans got the help we needed. I will never forget his devotion and his friendship in that critical time. It is almost impossible to imagine the United States Senate without Robert Byrd. He was not just its longest serving member, he was its heart, its soul, and its historian. From my first day in the Senate, I sought out his guidance, and he was always generous with his time and his wisdom.
So her first day in the Senate, she sought out his mentorship, his time, and his wisdom. Now y'all go and look how long she's been in the Senate seat. So after Hillary Clinton pretty much went on a media tour with Trump and white supremacy, she was putting out all types of ads viciously. I mean, there was running 24/7 around the clock on every single left-wing media campaign about Trump being a white supremacist. But I want y'all to pay attention to this video here. How many times, and then also look at the dates in the right-hand corner. How many times this man has disavowed and denounced white supremacy, even though he has nothing to do with it. Take a look.
Are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups?
Sure. You've got David Duke just joined, a bigot, a racist, a problem.
Would you repudiate David Duke?
Sure.
David Duke and robocalls are out again, the white supremacist movement supporting you. Do you have any words for that?
Well, I disavow. David Duke endorsed me? Okay. All right. I disavow. Okay?
When we looked at it and looked at the question, I disavowed David Duke. So I've disavowed David Duke all weekend long on Facebook, on Twitter, and obviously it's never enough.
Trump's refusal to condemn, just distance himself from white supremacists.
The Anti-Defamation League is already out there asking the president to clarify why he didn't condemn white supremacists.
So are you prepared right now to make a clear and unequivocal statement renouncing the support of all white supremacists?
Of course I am. Of course I am.
When Chris joined, we had a news conference, and they asked me the exact same question. I said, I disavow. I disavowed then. I disavowed today on ABC with George Stephanopoulos. I disavowed again.
David Duke is a bad person who I disavowed on numerous occasions over the years.
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it. I totally disavow the Ku Klux Klan. I totally disavow David Duke. Ultimately, he got to the Ku Klux Klan, which obviously I'm going to disavow. I've rejected David Duke. I've rejected the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan.
David Duke is saying to his supporters and followers, vote for Donald Trump. White supremacists are saying, vote. Do you want those votes?
No, I don't want them, and I don't want him to say it.
And you don't want the supporters?
No, I don't want anything.
What do you think of white supremacists, by the way?
I don't like any group of hate.
David Duke announced his Senate candidacy, claiming your agenda.
Are you ready before you ask the question?
Newt Gingrich said every Republican should repudiate this guy no matter what it takes.
And I do. Rebuked. Is that okay? Rebuked.
Rebuked.
Done.
Just to clear it up this morning, can you, naming it, make a declarative statement that you denounce, that the president denounces it?
Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists.
Do you want white supremacists to vote for you?
No, I don't at all. Not at all.
His campaign is denouncing a show of support from the KKK's official newspaper, as in the Ku Klux Klan.
In the same New York Times interview, he denounced white supremacists. He denounced the neo-Nazis who support him.
President Donald Trump signed a congressional joint resolution that condemns white supremacy, neo-Nazis, and other hate groups.
When he was asked to condemn white supremacists, he didn't.
And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
When specifically asked if he would denounce white supremacists, that the president dodged it.
I spoke out forcefully against hatred, bigotry, and violence, and strongly condemned the neo-Nazis, the white supremacists, and the KKK.
Well, I have to say that it's disappointing that a sitting U.S. president can't outright condemn white supremacy.
In one voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy.
The President of the United States, in the year of our Lord 2020, refuses to condemn white supremacists.
Any group of hate, I don't like it. Any group of hate, I am, whether it's white supremacy, whether it's any other kind of supremacy, whether it's Antifa, whether it's any group of hate, I am very concerned about it, and I'll do something.
So as you can see, throughout the years since 2016, he's been condemning, denouncing, disavowing white supremacy. You can't help who votes for him. Nobody can. I'm sure they all voted for it. There's, whether you like them or not, they are citizens of America, period. So fast forward now to 2024, they are still using this same strategy. And you know the reason why they're using this strategy? Because they cannot no longer stand on policy. That is the reason why. So that is the reason why anytime someone asks Democrats about their policies, they distance themselves. Even in the media now, they can't talk about anything but Trump. That's all it is. And even now, during the debate with Kamala Harris, she still brought up the Charlottesville good people on both sides, even though it has been debunked many times. And then they don't even fact check her on this. Take a look.
Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side. Let's remember that when it came to the Proud Boys, a militia, the former president said, stand back and stand by. So for everyone watching who remembers what January 6th was, I say, we don't have to go back. Let's not go back. We're not going back. It's time to turn the page. And if that was a bridge too far for you, well, there is a place in our campaign for you to stand for country, to stand for our democracy, to stand for rule of law, and to end the chaos, and to end the approach that is about attacking the foundations of our democracy because you don't like the outcome. And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election, there will be a bloodbath. If this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking, let's turn the page on this. Let's not go back. Let's chart a course for the future and not go backwards to the past.
So she sounds eerily familiar, right? Hillary Clinton vibes. That's what it gives me. But again, they can't stand on policy. So they're always going to bring up racism concerning Trump. Even though he said this all the way back, and I believe that Charlottesville happened in 2017. I'm just going to play it for kicks and giggles one more time.
Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as Americans. We are a nation founded on the truth that all of us are created equal. We are equal in the eyes of our Creator. We are equal under the law, and we are equal under our Constitution. Those who spread violence in the name of bigotry strike at the very core of America. 2 days ago, a young American woman, Heather Heyer, was tragically killed. Her death fills us with grief, and we send her family our thoughts.
So as you can see, in summary, I hold the opinion that Hillary Clinton is the orchestrator encouraging the Democrats to promote hateful rhetoric and violent extremism against Trump in the media. This stems from her loss and they seem to believe that a strategy centered around racism resonates with misinformed voters. So I thank you for getting through this. I know that it was long, and please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I have a lot more to come, and I hope that you will continue to be patient with me as I figure everything out and getting everything set up. Have a good evening.